Hello students, again we are going to continue with the Computer Science 2 Chapter 1 Introduction to Microprocessor. So let's start with the lecture. So the next important question from this particular chapter is draw a labeled functional block diagram of microprocessor 8085. Again this particular diagram and the one diagram, that is generic microprocessor, which we have learned, will create the confusion, because almost both the diagrams are look similar, but this one is more complicated than the generic microprocessor. So whenever you are having generic microprocessor diagram that we have learned in previous lecture, and if you are having the question on functional block diagram of microprocessor 8085, so in that scenario you should draw this particular diagram. So this diagram will be there for 3 to 4 marks, but as per my suggestion, that instead of attempting this particular question, you can move for other question, because if you notice the diagram, it is very complicated, so it will be difficult for you to remember. And there is one more reason why I am telling you to skip this particular question, is it is actually time consuming. It will take so much of time to draw, and within that time you can even attempt more 2 questions. So as this particular diagram is there in our syllabus, so I am explaining it, but my honest suggestion is that to skip this particular question, and again the final decision is totally depend upon you. So in this diagram, actually this diagram is combination of all the components which we have learned along with the 8085 pin diagram. So if you notice, if we are keeping the 8085 microprocessor horizontally, then above we are having 20 pins, below we are having 20 pins, right? So if you notice the side part, that is upper part and lower part, the pins they have given, that is, if I am considering the top part, then we are having INTR, INTA, then RST 5.5, 6.5, 7.5 and TRAP. All these are nothing but the interrupt related pins, right? This particular topic we have covered in last lecture. So all these pins are connected to one section, that is interrupt control section. After that we have also seen 2 pins, SID and SOD, serial input data, serial output data. So serial input output control section is there on the IC, to which these 2 pins are connected. And these both the section, that is interrupt control and serial input output control, this particular section is connected to the timing and control section. Just see the arrow, that is actually from timing and control signal the signals are generated, and that will be provided to the interrupt control and serial input output section, just to create certain type of interrupts, or just to create the way in which we want the output or input. So to decide that, this particular both the section, that is interrupt control and serial input output control, are connected to the timing and control signal. Then if you notice the timing and control signal, there are so many pins which are actually part of timing and control section, which we have learned in 8085 pin diagram. We are having X1, X2 pin, then CLK out, ready, read, write, ALE, S0, S1, IO/M, hold, HLDA, reset in, reset out. All these pins we have seen in microprocessor pin diagram. So all these pins are connected to the timing and control signal. So to remember this particular diagram, we should first remember the sections and the pins which are needed in the sections. Like in interrupt control, all the pins which are related to the interrupt we will remember. In serial input output, SID, SOD pin are there. Then if you notice the right hand side part of timing and control section, we are having address buffer, and again we are having data/address buffer. So to these 2 particular section, we have seen that there are total 16 address bus, out of which the initial address buses, that is A0 to A7, are used as a data bus also. So that pins are connected, address buffer if you notice, so A8 to A15, these are the address buses which are connected to the address buffer section. And just at the right hand side of the address buffer section, we are having data and address buffer section, to which A0 to A7 pins are connected. because these are the address bus which are used as an address as well as data bus. Okay, so whenever we want to carry the memory location, then both the buffers will be in use, and whenever we just need to carry the data, then only data / address buffer will come into picture. So I hope the upper part and the lower part is clear to you. In upper part we are having interrupt control, serial input output control, and in the lower part we are having timing and control section, address buffer and data address buffer. Why I am explaining this particular section first? Because to these total 5 sections the pins are connected of 8085. Okay, after that, other than, if you notice the middle part, so middle part we have already learned in so many diagrams. Like if you notice, we are having accumulator. From left hand side I am starting. We are having accumulator which is 8-bit. Then we are having temporary register, and these two sections are connected to the ALU, arithmetic logic unit. And to this arithmetic logic unit we are having flip flop also, that is flag register. We have seen we are having total 5 flags. This is the reason why if you see the square bracket of flag flip flop into round bracket, they have given 5. Why 5? Because we are having 5 register. So in this section you just need to draw one arithmetic, that is ALU section, and to which you need to attach 3 sections, that is accumulator, temporary register and flag. Okay, flag register. And again these two sections are connected to the upper part, that is interrupt control and serial input output, as well as the arithmetic and logic unit is again connected to that part only. After that we are having instruction register. Again instruction register is connected to the instruction decoder, and as we have seen that CPU organization, actually this is the diagram which we have learned in CPU organization, but in that the accumulator and temporary register was present at the right hand side and ALU was present at the left hand side. But in this diagram, accumulator and temporary registers, flag register are present at the left hand side and the accumulator is present at the right hand side. And then after that we are having instruction register, instruction decoder, and instruction decoder is actually connected to the timing and control signal. So the same thing they have shown here also in functional block diagram. Okay, after that the instruction register, if you notice, or the instruction decoder, that is connected to one section, and that section is nothing but the registers. We have learned there are so many registers, like we are having temporary registers, then BC, D, HL, these register we have seen. Then we are having stack pointer, program counter. So all these register they have, that is registered array which we have learned, that diagram is there. This particular diagram we have learned in CPU flag register. If you notice, write a note on CPU register. So in that we have seen this particular diagram, but in that diagram first part was given, that is flag register, PSW, and the second part was accumulator, and then we are having this sequence. But now in this diagram, in place of PSW and accumulator, we are having temporary registers. Okay, 8-bit temporary register, that is the addition of each row should be 16 at the end. Then we are having BC register, DE register, HL register. Below that stack pointer which is 16-bit. Below that program counter which is 16-bit. And after that we are having incrementer and decrementer address latch. Means with the help of this particular latch we can increment or decrement the memory location. So again this is 16-bit which is connected to the address bus and data bus. Why? Because address buffer and data buffer is responsible for carrying the data or address, and that particular address is stored inside the register array. In that also in specific register that particular data, or we to store the address we are using pair of register. So this particular diagram is there, and above the diagram we are having some new section which are added, that is multiplexer, and the last section, that is incrementer and decremental, which we have not seen in any diagram. So this is the diagram. I hope it will be clear to you, that is how to draw the functional block diagram. It is lengthy, it is easy to remember, but still for me it is easy to remember. It's not necessary that everybody should feel that this particular diagram is easy, but the time consuming, and we just need, actually we are having 3 hours for 50 marks paper, but still in place of the in spite of this particular diagram, you can attempt any other question also. So now we are having upper part interrupt control and serial input output control section. Below we are having timing and control section, and along with that we are having address buffer and data slash address buffer. Then in the middle part we are having accumulator, temporal register, flag register, and all these three registers are connected to the arithmetic logic unit. And after that we are having instruction register. Below instruction register we are having instruction decoder, and instruction decoder is connected to the timing and control section. After that we are having register array. So in register array, the new component which is added, that is multiplexer and temporal register on the first row. Other things we have already seen in the diagram of CPU register, that is we are having BC, DE, HL pair, SP was there, that is stack pointer, program counter, these elements are there. But after that again one more new component is added, that is incrementer and decrementer address slash, which is 16-bit and which is connected to the address bus and data bus. Now in this diagram they have given a big hollow arrows. So it's not necessary that we should draw this arrow. You just simply put all the components, actually interrupt control, serial input control, and remember the pins which are connected to this section, and that is again easy. That is interrupt control. To this particular section you have we already learned the pins which are associated with the interrupt, like we are having INTR, INTA, RST 5.5, 6.5, 7.5 trap. And it's not necessary that you should write the pins in this sequence, because in the diagram we were having first trap, after trap we were having RST 5.5, 6.5, 7.5, then we have INTR, and after INTR we are having INTA. So if you want to write in this sequence you can write, there is no issue. Serial input output we are having only two pins to remember, that is SID and SOD. After that timing, then just move to the address buffer. Address buffer we need to connect A8 to A15 pin numbers, and to the data and address bus we connect A0 to AD7 pin numbers. Okay, and the remaining whatever pins which are in your mind, that you can write as a part of timing and control section. Okay, but other pins are, I hope are easy to remember for you. And in the middle section I have already explained, out of which just see or just notice the two-way connections. Like accumulator is having two-way connection, interrupt control is having two-way connection, that is arrow is pointing towards both the side. Serial input out is again having two-way connection. Data and address buses is having two-way connection because they are bidirectional, and address buses are only unidirectional, and this is the reason why the arrow is towards down side. And in case of data and address buffer, the arrow is two directional. Even the registers are also connected in two directional, and other are one directional, that is from the instruction register this data will be sent to the instruction decoder, and then it is connected to the timing and control signal. So this is only one way connection. So like that you should remember the connection. So this is the diagram, that is functional block diagram of microprocessor. Before lecture I don't remember the lecture number, but we have seen one diagram, that is generic microprocessor diagram. So that diagram was different and this one is different. So I hope it is clear to you. So now we are moving towards the next question. So next question is, explain the features of 8085 microprocessor. So the first feature of 8085 microprocessor is, it is actually developed by the Intel's company, that we have seen in the evolution of microprocessor question, and it is 8-bit microprocessor. Why it is called 8-bit? Because we are having 8 data buses. That is means this particular microprocessor can carry 1 byte of data at a time. Second feature of 8085 microprocessor is 8085 chip is available in 40 pin plastic ceramic deep package. So again you don't need to write this entire sentence. You can just simply write the 8085 microprocessor is having total 40 pins. Third feature of microprocessor is, it has 16-bit address bus. That means it can address a physical memory of 64 kilobyte. That is, we just need to specify that 8085 microprocessor is having 16-bit address bus. Okay. Then fourth feature of 80 microprocessor is address bus is divided into two groups, least significant and most significant. Least significant 8-bit of address bus are transferred on same 8 lines of data bus. That is A0 to AD0 to AD7 we are using as the address bus as well as data bus. So that sentence they have actually specified that address buses are divided into two group. We are having least significant, that is AD0 to AD7, and we are having most significant address buses, that is AD8 to AD17. Sorry, AD15. And out of which the least significant address bus we can use as a data bus also. So they are bi-directional. So same point they have explained. Then the next feature is to select external memory or input output devices. Microprocessor 8085 uses IO mapped IO system. So whenever we want to connect the system or whenever we want to send the data to the external memory, basically we are having IO mapped system which is used by the 8085. That is, IO map system means to the 8085 we are having so many peripherals which are connected. So, and each and every peripheral are connected, or the in which way the data will be sent in and out. So that will be decided with the help of IO mapped. Okay. After that, next feature is to communicate with external device. Microprocessor use interrupt method. Means whenever you want to communicate with the external device, we need to stop the current execution of the program, right? So how we will stop that particular execution? By generating the interrupt signal. So that point they have explained, that is whenever we want to communicate with the external device, the microprocessor 8085 use interrupt method. That is, it creates interrupt because of which the current execution will stop and the control will move to the new memory location, which is because of which we will connect to the external device. Then the last feature of microprocessor 8085 is it requires plus 5 volt single power supply and can operate with 3 megahertz single phase clock. So basically again power supply which we needed, that is plus 5 volt power supply is needed, and the frequency, we can say that clock frequency of 8085 microprocessor is 3 megahertz. So these are the features of 8085. So again this is very important question. Now we are moving to the next question. Next question is what is interrupt, and explain in details. So while actually explaining, I have always used that in the programming we are having errors. Like that, if whenever we are running the assembly language programs and if something wrong happened or something we unexpected happened, then that is called as interrupt, not the errors. So what is interrupt? We will now see the actual definition, proper definition of interrupt. That is, an interrupt is a subroutine. Subroutine means it is a kind of function call which is initiated by the external device through device hardware or microprocessor itself. Actually interrupts are sometimes microprocessor itself generates some type of interrupt, and sometimes because of external devices interrupt is created. So whenever the interrupts are created by the external device, that is hardware, then that is called as hardware interrupt. And when microprocessor itself generates some kind of interrupts, then that is called as software interrupt. Okay. So basically interrupts are initiated by the external device as well as by the microprocessor. So if external device is generating the interrupt, then that is called as hardware interrupt, and microprocessor is generating some interrupt, then that is called as software interrupt. An interrupt can also be viewed as a signal which suspend the normal sequence of microprocessor, and then microprocessor gives service to that device which has given the signal. So basically if externally some devices are generating the signal, then definitely after generating that particular interrupt, the microprocessor should reply in certain manner. Okay. So that reply is given by the signal at a specific pin. So that point they have given. So it's a kind of signal. That is, if I am generating RST 7.5 interrupt, so we will get the signal at that pin only, nowhere else. So that is the meaning of this particular line. So after completing the service, microprocessor again returns to the main program, and once the pins are disabled and enabled, according to that the microprocessor will resume to the execution only, old execution. Microprocessor is connected to different peripheral devices. To communicate with these devices, microprocessor 8085 uses interrupt method. So again, this is one of the feature which we have learned just now, that is microprocessor. If the microprocessor wants to communicate with the peripheral devices, then it uses the interrupt method. An interrupt is nothing but input signal which transfer the control to specific routine known as interrupt service routine. So basically whenever interrupt occur, so interrupt, it's kind of input signal only. So basically actually hardware device, that connecting the external device if generating the interrupt, then it actually providing the input signal as an interrupt. And because of this particular signal, the control will transfer to the specific routine. Routine means to the specific function. We will jump to that particular memory location where the function is present. And this is possible because of interrupt service routine. And after executing ISR, that is interrupt service routine, control is again transferred to the main function. Actually this particular point is very similar to the functions which we have learned in C++. Normally suppose we are having one function, that is get data function, and after that we are having void main. So whenever we execute the program, the execution will always start from the void main. And within a void main, when we make a call to the get data function, so from the void main the control is moved to the get data, and after execution of the statements which are present inside the get data function, again we will move back to the main function. So same thing in case of microprocessor is also there. That is, in microprocessor also we can create the function. So we are having main program, okay, like void main, and in which if we make call to some function, then control from the main program will move to that new program, okay. And after the particular program is completed, then again the control is moved back to the main program only. So these particular things are actually possible because of ISR. Interrupt service routine is arranged in something, and this is the reason why in the current slide they have given main program, and then we are having interrupt means there will be we are having call instruction. So whenever we are applying call instruction, after call instruction we specify the memory location where our program is present. So from the main program, and after this interrupt we are having again certain statements of the main program. So first the main program will get executed. When we move or when we reach the interrupt control line, then the program will jump to the, or the execution will jump to the program section. And once the program execution completed, again we are moving back to the main function. So that they have given. Then next part is microprocessor 8085 has two types of interrupt. First one is software interrupt and the second one is hardware interrupt. Software interrupt has more priority than any hardware interrupt. Priority means if we are having both the types of interrupt has occurred, that is software also and hardware also. So first we will try to solve software interrupt because they are having highest priority. So this is the meaning of this particular sentence, that is software interrupt has more priority as compared to hardware interrupt. Then software interrupt are not requested by the external peripheral devices. Software interrupt, just now we have seen the first sentence, microprocessor itself generate interrupt, and that interrupt is nothing but the software. And if external device is generating some interrupt, then that is hardware interrupt. So same point is given. And again software and hardware interrupt we are having again one type, that is there are some interrupts which are non-maskable and maskable. We are going to learn about this thing in detail later. But all the software interrupts are non-maskable and some hardware interrupts are maskable. Now you just remember this point only, that software interrupts are non-maskable and hardware interrupts are maskable. What is the meaning of non-maskable and maskable? That we are going to learn in next question. So I hope this question is clear to you, that is what is interrupt. Interrupt is nothing but a subroutine Then in that you just need to explain the two types of interrupts. If the interrupts are generated by the external devices, then that is called as hardware interrupt. And if the microprocessor is itself generating some type of interrupt, then that is called as software interrupt. And normally because of interrupt, the actual flow or actual execution of a program is interrupt, means it is break, and then we are moving to the new program. And all such things are possible because of ISR, that is interrupt service routine. Then we are having two types of interrupt, out of which software are non-maskable and hardware interrupts are maskable. So I hope this question is clear to you. Now next question, again on the basis of this particular topic we are having, that is, give all hardware interrupt provided by 8085 and list them according to their priority. So actually in theory we have learned this particular topic, that is TRAP, RST 7.5, 6.5, 5.5 and INTR. These are 5 pins which are associated with the interrupt. So these 5 pins are part of hardware interrupt, out of which TRAP is highest priority interrupt and the lowest priority is to INTR interrupt. So these are the 5 which are hardware interrupt. These interrupt are vectored interrupt. They are also called as vector. Meaning of this is, when these particular interrupts are given, it is directed to transfer the control to specific memory location. Means when this particular type of interrupt occur, like trap interrupt, suppose it is occur, then we will automatically move to the specific memory location, and this is the reason why they are vectored. Vector means there is a fixed memory location to which the control will move. And for that, in the question second point only, we have given some points like trap equal to 4.5 then raised to 8. So here after trap there is number 0024H. So whenever trap interrupt occur, we will move to the memory location 0024 directly, not any other memory location. Only this memory location we will move our control. After that, next instruction, that is RST 7.5. So because of this particular interrupt, our control will move to the memory location 003C. For RST 6.5, 0034. RST 5.5, 002C. So you should remember the numberings. Forgot that 4.5, 5.5, 7.5, 6.5. Only remember these numberings, that is trap 0024, then 003C, then 0034 and then 002C. So these are the 4 they have given the numberings, about 4 interrupts. So you should remember this particular point, that is this interrupt means hardware interrupts are vectored interrupt, means when such type of interrupts occur, the program is transferred to the specific memory location, and the memory locations are already given, so you should remember the numbering of the memory location. Among these interrupt, trap is non-maskable. Non-maskable means which cannot be disabled, but other 4 interrupts are maskable, which can be disabled. Okay, so non-maskable, here trap is the non-maskable one and the remaining 4 are maskable, which can be disabled. After that, the next point, that is trap has highest priority and INTR is having lowest priority among the hardware interrupt. The hardware interrupt in descending order is given. Again the same point which they have given in the first point, again the same thing is there, but only they have added the 2 terms, highest priority along with trap and the lowest priority along with the INTR. Same points are actually repeated. So I hope this particular question is clear to you. And the last point is important because in the question they have specified, let list them according to their priority. So trap is highest priority and INTR is the lowest priority. So I hope this particular point topic is clear to you. Hardware interrupt. There are total 5 hardware interrupt: trap, RST 7.5, 6.5, 5.5 and the last one is INTR. And these are vector interrupt because when this particular interrupt occur, the program will move to the specific location. And we should remember the memory locations which are related to each and every interrupt where the program will move. Out of which trap is the non-maskable, means which cannot be disabled, and other are maskable, means we can disable them. And then about the priority they have explained, that is trap is having highest priority and INTR is having lowest priority. So I hope this question is clear to you. Now we are moving towards next question. Next question is software interrupt. Actually we are not having the pins for this, like trap and all. These are the part of pin diagram which we have learned in 8085 microprocessor, right? But the software interrupts are not actually shown in the pin diagram. So basically the numberings, first see the table. We are having RST 0 to RST 7. Okay, and again there is call location, that is whenever RST 0, this particular type of interrupt occur, we are moving to the 000 location. That is now we have not started with the assembly language program, but in that we are going to use RST or HLT. All such type of instructions are there. So whenever we are using RST instruction, RST space 0, that time our control will move to the default location, and the location is 4 times 0. So like in case of hardware interrupt, we were having the specific memory location. Here also we are having specific location only. That is, we are having RST 0 whose memory location is 4 times 0. Then we are having RST 1 whose location is 3 times 0, 8. Then we are having RST 2, that is 10. So if you want to remember the numberings, we are having 0, 8, then 10, 18, then 20, 28, 30, 38. So initially we are having, that is, if you notice the second last bit, if you notice of all the locations, we are having 2 times 0, then 2 times 1, then 2 times 2, then 2 times 3. And the last is 0808 combination. And the first 2 bits are nothing but all zeros. So in that way you can remember this. Okay, that is 0808 will be the last column, last bit, and second last bit we are having 2 times 0, 2 times 1, 2 times 2, 2 times 3. Because this particular table is very very important, and we are having software interrupts which are starting from the RST 0 to RST 7, and RST is nothing but restart option. Okay, so now I am starting from the first point of software interrupt. The normal operation of microprocessor can be interrupted by special instruction, and such interrupt is called as software interrupt. Now actually we have seen one point, that is, if microprocessor is itself creating certain type of interrupt, then that particular interrupts are called as software interrupt. Okay, so to perform or to have software interrupt, we are having so many instructions. Like HLT we can use, RST, these two instruction I am commonly using while writing the program. So to create such type of interrupt like software interrupt, we are having certain instructions. Okay, 8085 provides total 8 user defined software interrupt. We are having total 8. In case of hardware interrupt, we were having only 5 interrupts, but in case of software interrupt, we are having total 8 user defined interrupt. That is RST 0 to RST 7, where RST means restart. These interrupt are vector interrupt. Again, I hope you know the meaning of vector. Vector means when such type of interrupt occur, we will move to the fixed memory location, and that is already they have given in the table. When these interrupts are called, control is transferred to the memory location. So that particular diagram is given that I have just now explained. Then we are moving to the fourth point of this particular question. Software interrupts are not used to handle asynchronous event. They are used to call software routine like single step, breakpoint, etc. Means whenever you want to skip a particular step, then in that condition we are making use of software interrupt. If you want to break the execution, so for that purpose we can use the software interrupt. So it actually not used to handle the asynchronous event. These interrupts are requested by executing interrupt instructions. Okay, and they can also be requested due to arithmetic error. Sometimes microprocessor sends or user writes some instructions, like just now I told you, that is RST and halt, because of which interrupt occur, or sometimes because if we are writing or if we are performing certain calculation, arithmetic operations, Because of that operations also sometimes interrupt occur. So that is again part of software interrupt only. So that they have given. That is, sometimes this particular type of interrupts are requested due to arithmetic error. Okay, and to request such type of instruction, we are having instructions also present in the instruction set list of 8085 microprocessor. After executing all these interrupts, program counter is incremented. So basically, whenever we this particular type of interrupt occur, program counter is incremented. The microprocessor does not execute any interrupt acknowledge cycle. The microprocessor execute normal instruction cycle. Means because of this instruction, nothing special happened. It execute the normal instruction cycle. Okay, it is not actually it will not harm any particular IC or device which is part of 8085 because of software interrupt. Only the program counter will get incremented and we will jump to the specific memory location. That's it. And after that location, if we are having certain instruction, then that particular instruction will get executed in normal manner. These interrupt cannot be ignore or mask. Ignore means whenever software interrupt occur, we have to solve that. Then and then only our execution will smoothly perform. Like we have learned one topic, exception handling. Why we are having exception? Because there is exception, there is error in one line only, but because of which the other lines will not get executed. So to solve that, we are having exception handling topic. So like that here also, if we are having hardware interrupt, there it's not necessary that all the instructions are having certain problem or error. There are chances that only one or two instruction may be creating some problem, but other instructions are proper. So if such type of, that is software interrupt occur, we should resolve that interrupt. So these are maskable, means we have to attempt them first. Okay, to solve them, we have to find some solution to solve this particular type of interrupt. Then and then only the execution of remaining program will be done in smoother manner. So these particular interrupts cannot be ignored or masked, because they, as compared to hardware interrupt, the software interrupt are having highest priority. They are not used to interface peripherals. Means actually these interrupts are generated by the microprocessor. So there is no actually involvement of peripheral devices. In case of hardware interrupt, we are having the involvement of peripheral devices. But in case of software interrupt, there is no interference by the peripheral devices. That means they do not improve throughput of the system. Means by disconnecting the particular peripheral devices, we can stop the interrupt, right? Or we can stop the interference of the device. But now here the microprocessor itself generating the signal, so we don't have any such option from which we will find out the solution. So they are used in a program debugging. So this particular type of use, actually whenever we debug the program, means whenever we performing the execution, that time this particular type of interrupt can be noticed. Okay, so this is software interrupt. So I hope it is clear to you. Then we will be having differences also in this type of interrupts, so that we are going to learn in next section, next lecture actually. So this much